Good evening, everybody. How we're doing? For those of you who've missed last week, welcome back. So, how is everyone doing tonight? What's everyone working on? So, in terms of the actual kind of scheduled events tonight, I'm just going to be working on some miniatures for the next release for ArcWorlde, which will be the Imperials. Kind of like, for those of you who don't know, they're kind of fantasy, Napoleonic style characters. Unfortunately, I don't really have any to show you today because they're currently at Mr. Rob Huntley's house, my dad. So he's been working, getting the first batch of the models cast up, ready for the Kickstarter next month. So today, I will be working on the Ogre. So he's basically the heavy for the Imperials. So he's like the big guy, the heavy hitter. So I'm just going to be, I'd say he's about 85% done. Got quite a lot of kind of little details and little bits and bobs to add on to him. But before we get started, I'd like to just do a kind of a mic check. Make sure that the music's not too loud, my voice isn't too quiet. Basically, if you can give me any feedback on the general stream quality before we get started, that would be brilliant. So let's see who's in the chat. So, good evening, Les. Good evening, Lord Maiden. Good evening, Amu Menu. Good evening, Oaken Bronze. Animenu is asking, Kickstarter still going on? I'm not too sure which Kickstarter you're talking about. Lagging a little now and again, but music and sound is great. Brilliant. But Les can't hear any music. Let's see if we can just ping it up a little bit. Just a baby tap. Just a baby touch. But yes. Oop. So this model is for the upcoming. So the plan is that now, since I released the first 4 factions, every time I release a new faction, it's gonna be like a kind of a little mini Kickstarter rather than going straight to the web store. Because it's always nice to make a big event of things, and I really enjoy doing Kickstarters. I know that you guys really enjoy being part of Kickstarters. Like, it allows you to get involved. I get to hear some great feedback from you guys. You also get to kind of pick up some of the existing models. It kind of save postage and stuff like that. But I think it's the event of a Kickstarter that I really enjoy. It's like, because it does feel like a special occasion. So just while I wait on this lapel. I think it's called a lapel, like shoulder fancy bit. I'm not too hot on my military uniform definition, so if anyone's in the chat, please do feel free to step in and educate me before I make a fool of myself. But while that's drying, I'll also be working on this little guy here. There we go. So one of the big things, in addition to the new faction that I'll be releasing, the Imperials, I'll also be doing a few new models for the first 4 factions that you guys got in the first Kickstarter last year. So this is going to be the first of the Halfling, the 2nd edition Halfling Cavalry. Now I know that there are some existing cavalry miniatures for the Halflings, going back years and years and years, but with these guys it's just kind of updating the sculpts a little bit, but also I'll be doing the riders and the mounts separate, so if you do kind of buy multiple copies you can change them up a little bit, just so if you do want to kind of have a glorious Halfling kind of cavalry warband, all the models will be slightly different. So you can see on this side I've pretty much finished him. Finished this ram mount. But on the other side there's still quite a lot of stuff left to do. So I'll be working on that kind of in conjunction with the ogre today. Also, I've put the finishing touches on my unicorn. So the Albionicans, also known as the Imperials, they are called the Albionicans, and they were called the Albionicans in 1st edition, but 7 years of people saying it and spelling it wrong, I decided to make it a little bit easier for everyone and call them the Imperials in 2nd edition. But those guys are actually going to be mounted upon unicorns. Now I made this one as like a dolly, but also kind of as a model in its own right, so I tried to make it look as kind of wild as possible. But for the mounts for the human guys, I'm going to kind of be giving him more of a kind of like a braided mane, kind of more like a military horse, potentially, and obviously with all the barding and stuff like that on, maybe kind of make him look more like a cavalry mount. But he's done, so I'm going to be sending him off to Mr. Rob Huntley, my dad, to get cast. Let's check the chat. Video is lagging rather, though. That's a shame. Yeah, for some reason the video quality isn't too good tonight. I don't know why. The 3 of them coming. I'm not too sure what you mean about that, Mr. Bassano, but good to see you again. Beautiful unicorn, thank you very much. Wayne Burton, unicorn cavalry, cool. Thank you very much. Well, it's something that I wanted to do for a while. I believe the original idea came from the ArcWorlde Weekender in January. It was during a chat with Mr. Ian Foster and I believe Mr. James. I think I always get confused because on Facebook it's De Grey, but I believe it's Atkinson real life. But both good boys. Ian in particular has kind of been like, other than obviously my mum and dad, he's been very much like a right hand man over the course of the development of 2nd edition. So he's been really good at kind of talking to about ideas and concepts and things. But yeah, I believe it was at the ArcWorlde Weekender where the idea of unicorn cavalry came up, and I thought it was such a cool idea that I decided to go for it. Although my girlfriend, she was quite incensed at the idea of unicorn cavalry, because to her unicorns are kind of I guess they kind of represent nature and kind of the wildness of the world, and that kind of fits quite well for me. Of like, you know, the Imperials kind of trying to conquer nature and tame it, but she was like, no, you can't do that. But I don't know. I guess it kind of, because like, I mean, I don't want to paint the Imperials as like wholly like bad guys, but I do kind of like this idea that they're trying to exploit nature and kind of take as much as they can, or at least the higher ups are. You know, obviously when you're playing the game, your warband is pretty much just made of the bog standard soldiers. So I think that's about right. So there we go. Probably tighten up a little bit when it's a bit more dry. Mr. Bassano is saying the Halfling Cavalry. Yeah, I'll probably do maybe two or three like different mounts, and obviously 2 or 3 different riders, just so you can get quite a bit of variation. Oh, my dad's turned up. Good evening, Father dearest. So for the past few days, this afternoon, we've been wrangling with the new website system. So you know, just setting up like emails and things like that. So I made a brand new website. So for those of you who haven't checked it out, if you go on to www.warploqueminiatures.com, I've spent the last week or so making a fancy new website that I'm quite happy with. Wayne says James is a man of 2 names. How is it? Is he actually James the Grey, or is he James Atkinson? Which one does he prefer? Because we always call him the Grey, just obviously that's what we know him as, mainly through Facebook and Kickstarters and things. So I think with this guy there's going to be quite a lot of filing and stuff just to kind of get these textures quite smooth. But because the one of the machines I use is relatively noisy. Well, I say relatively, it's very noisy, especially on a camera. I'll probably do that off stream. Oh. I think he prefers the grey, but really Atkinson. Well, in that case, I shall stick to the grey. New website looks great. Thank you very much, Wayne. Rob is my dad. Alex, that looks like it'll cast as one piece. Excellent. It's always a good thing to hear. When the live stream ends, I'm going to check out the new website. Excellent. Actually, that does remind me. So tonight, kind of going forwards, I'm probably going to be doing the streams every 2 weeks rather than every week. And kind of depending on the content, there'll probably be an hour rather than 2 hours. Usually because, by the end of by the final end of the stream, people tend to be drifting off anyway. So I think it's kind of going forward, it's probably a little bit better to keep things shorter and a bit more sweet. But I've actually been considering moving the streams over to Twitch rather than on YouTube, because I've been doing a bit of chatting with a YouTube specialist at My Mini Factory. So My Mini Factory is where with the Digital Workshop Patreon. So once the month is over, I pop my models, or the files for the models on My Mini Factory, so it just allows people to kind of get access to kind of digital miniatures that they missed out on. But the guys there have been really, really helpful, especially because I'm obviously quite new to everything. Like, this is only coming to the end of my second month doing it. And he was saying about how YouTube is more suited towards kind of shorter videos, more like, I guess, more curated videos, whereas Twitch is a lot more kind of suited to like content like this. So I think in the future I'll probably head on over to Twitch, but I'll be doing a bit of research and stuff like that, obviously, to make sure that it is indeed the right place to go. So this is going to be a frying pan, I think. I'm just trying to figure out where to put it. Kind of like, like a cooking thing. So I think it probably makes sense that I hang it down here, kind of over the axe. So I'll pop that there for now, and then I'll put the handle in. Amumenu, your mum and dad are awesome, by the way. They sorted out some old figures. I need to finish my elves collection. Brilliant. So I assume that you have the second edition elves already, and you just wanted to kind of pick up the older set, as you said, just to kind of finish the collection. So I'll just pop that there, and then I'll I'll be filling in those gaps and stuff like that, and then I'll probably drill into that just to kind of hollow it out to make it look more like a kind of a little saucepan. So I'll pop that in the oven. Yeah, I'm not too. I don't really know too much about Twitch either, Robert. But I have been told that it is like the best for streaming. And Amumenu has every single elf now from 1st and 2nd edition. Wow. Hi Jonas, good to see you. Just mixing up some fresh putty. Just because I'm going to be doing quite a lot of, kind of be working on the wool on the back of the sheep. I like to kind of keep the putty quite soft. Like the way that I have sculpted the wool on this. It's quite similar to how I do smoke. Just to make them look extra fluffy. I always kind of bumble that name. Amumenu, Alex, love the sculpts you do, so had to have them all. Thank you very much. Well, I hope they get to you in one piece. Good to see you, Simon. Thank you very much, buddy. Glad you like the website. Tweet is good. For a lot of ArcWorlde fans, you should make content free access, as paid subscribing is not worth it to casual watcher, nor you getting promo info out. I mean, no, I wouldn't be doing paid content anyway, like the way that I see it, the streaming and the kind of the videos and stuff are just a way to kind of interact with you guys, especially, with the let's say the lack of trade shows and stuff like that. But interestingly, one of the things that that the YouTube specialist was telling me is that I would really benefit from doing some kind of short, sharp tutorials. So rather than like, here, watch me paint for like 2 hours, I should be like, right, here's like a 10-minute video on how to paint an Imperial Trooper, for example. And then kind of film myself painting it normally like I would be doing on a stream, but then cut the video down, like put some graphics over it perhaps, and you know, make the kind of shorter, sharper, more palatable videos. Because one of the things is that I've kind of realised is that when it comes to YouTube content, because, you know, I work from home and a lot of the time I do tend to kind of just whack something on whilst I sculpt or paint or whatever, I am actively looking out for long videos because, you know, more bang for your buck. Like, I prefer to kind of sink my teeth into something that's going to last like 2 hours rather than it kind of chopping and changing all the time. But that's not what the average kind of YouTube user wants, you know, and normal people who aren't, you know, miniature sculptors or hobbyists don't have time to kind of sit down and kind of pay attention to something for 2 hours. So I think it's something I'm definitely going to have to consider going forward, is maybe more kind of shorter tutorials. I'm thinking about especially doing some for the Imperials Kickstarter, just, you know, how to paint up like the soldiers and stuff like that. Kind of how you know, for you guys that were at the ArcWorlde Weekender, kind of similar tutorials to what I was doing in real life, but, you know, maybe with like the boring bits sped up or cut out or whatever. It's Chris, forget his name, a streamer name. Well, in that case, I shall call you Chris from now on. Oop. Sorry, I keep catching the camera with my sculpting tool. I don't seem to have this problem when it's my digital sculpting streams. You need more ArcWorlde full games on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, it's always something that I do want to get around to doing, but I always worry that it's just not very entertaining. You know, like, let's say, you know, wargaming isn't exactly a spectator sport, and I worry that I don't have the skills required to kind of make entertaining kind of battle rep videos. But if it is definitely something like you guys really want to see, I'll see what I can do. Jonas is asking, will you be making mounts for the digital dwarves? I don't know. Maybe. Like, my plan is like, as always, I always try and, you know, gauge what my backers want to see. And if they do want mounted dwarves, then absolutely. I might do a similar kind of thing where I do like a more traditional mount, like I did with the goblins. So I'll do a more traditional mount, you know, fantasy staple, maybe like boars or something like that, and then something of my own creation. But I'll put that up as an option for the guys on the Patreon. But once this is, even though like, technically this is an ArcWorlde stream, but it all feeds into each other. So I'll show you once this guy is in the oven. The ogre isn't quite done yet. So whilst this guy's in the oven, I'll show you off the new dwarves that I've been working on, and the cockatrice. Les, so long as you don't ever do water slide transfers, I bloomin' hate them. Sorry if it's off on a tangent, but fitting someone needs to vent. Yeah, probably won't be doing any of that. I mean, I don't know, maybe. I guess they'd work for the Imperials, but what are you working on at the moment, Les? Wayne, Les went away, I think, Fan the Pain too. Chris is saying that real ArcWorlde fans do think that battle reps are exciting and entertaining. Alex Barkley. Hi folks, just dropping in from the Chilling Wargamers stream. It's Spud's birthday. Currently got a payoak on the painting table that should be finished tonight. Brilliant. Well, could you wish Spud a happy birthday from me, please, Alex? I mean, obviously I'm not able to pop over there and say it myself, but if I could, I would. And Spud is an absolutely lovely fellow, and I hope he has a lovely day. Robert Bassano, yes, Alex, even putty pushing isn't a sport, but we do love to watch you anyway and enjoy good company. Well, thank you very much. Ooh, right. Wayne Burton, yep. Twitch, YouTube Dice's sound. YouTube short and sharp content for a wider audience. Twitch is perfect for the dedicated fans who want the interaction. Simon Powell would love to see some sculpting tutorials, both traditional and digital. Well, I mean, I guess with the digital stuff, like I do, I think, yeah, it was the cockatrice that I based. Oh yeah, I did the cockatrice basically from scratch, I think, on a stream. And I also did the sproing beasts for the goblins. But if you guys would actually prefer like an actual kind of dedicated tutorial where I kind of really break it down, then absolutely. It's always struggled to know what content to make, because, you know, like for you guys who are out there who do make kind of video content, it takes up a bloody long amount of time, and got a lot of sculpting to do for you hungry folk. So right, that the wool on that side of the sheep is is done now. So I think once that's dry, I'll probably work on the face and the horns a little bit. Les is working on some Warlord Celtic shields. Arrgh! Ready for a different game. Sorry, I need more ArcWorlde crack, but waiting for the Imperial Kickstarter. Well, I'm glad you're looking forward to it at least. And I'm sorry to hear that you're having some trouble with other models. So, right. Now they're kind of waiting for those two models to dry. I shall show you a little bit of my digital models for July's Patreon. So I've been making some dwarves. So these are actually a multi-part kit. So that you've got like the head, the body as one piece, the arms as a piece, the legs as a piece, the cloaks and also the shields. So there's one example of sword and shield, and here's another. Then also got some archers. There we go, that's better focus. Then you've also got like a double-handed option as well. So there we go. And then decide to give this guy 2 swords. So there's like an example of the kind of characters that you can make with the July's set. Obviously, there are so many different combinations. One that I was going to make, because I thought, well, my girlfriend thought it'd be quite funny if I did 7 dwarves. Probably another shields guy. So there's the shield as one piece. Then we have the kind of the head and body. Then we've got legs. Then the cloak. And then we've got the hammer in one hand, and then the kind of the empty fist, and that will just kind of fit in there with the shield. So these have actually been quite, I guess, a new challenge, because with my previous Patreon models I've stuck to the kind of the ArcWorlde system where every kind of character is a character in one piece, but with this I thought I would kind of explore the benefits of, 3D printing, where you can print out as many models as you want. So I think that if these go down well, and I don't know if they will, because there's still a few days left, and I'm probably going to be starting to paint them tomorrow or Thursday. But if the public prefer this kind of system, then the kind of the one-piece ones, then I might move over to that system for the Patreon. So in addition to these guys, and kind of in opposition to these guys, I would say, is the cockatrice. Now, this guy, if you've been following my other streams, you actually watched me make him. So last time you saw him, it was 2 weeks ago, my last stream, where I was just finishing him off. So here is the print. Really, really happy with how he's turned out. Can't quite kind of get him, just because of the way the camera's set up, I can't particularly get him in focus, but he's a big boy. I mean, so you can kind of see the size difference there. And then if I was to show an ArcWorlde model, so if I show the Explorer, for example, yeah, he's quite big. But I really enjoyed making the cockatrice. He's going to be alongside the dwarves for July, and for August I've got another big beast planned. Although what it'll go alongside, I don't quite know. So one of the good things is that with the digital stuff, I can be a lot more spontaneous with the kind of designing, because when I'm doing ArcWorlde models, because there are first of all, hand making models does take a lot more time, but also because they need to kind of be cast and stuff, and then delivered and things, you have to plan months and months in advance. Whereas digital stuff, I can kind of go, oh, I've got an idea, boom, and then in the afternoon it's done and you've got it uploaded. So I'm going to definitely be listening to my patrons, should I say, and we'll see what they want to see for August. Whether they want kind of more dwarves, whether they want more kind of character models, or whether they want kind of mounted characters, whether they want more one-piece characters or multi-piece characters. It's very exciting. So yeah, if you want to grab these or any other of my digital sculpts, if you do have a 3D printer at home, go onto the Warploque Miniatures Patreon. I'll post a link in the chat. So it's www.patreon.com/Warploque Miniatures. Now, for you guys at home who don't have access to a 3D printer but really do quite like the look of my stuff, I think what I'm probably going to be doing, and now this isn't 100%, so don't quote me on this, but I think I'll probably be doing a kind of a Kickstarter in about 4 months' time. So I can get cast quality prints made of all of my digital stuff up to that point, and so I can work with my dad and my metal caster my metal caster John, on getting some casts produced. So you guys at home who don't have 3D printers can still get these models. Let's just check the chat. Jonas is saying, I vote Dwarf Hero and Mange Rudesmith and Basilisk for August. Well, yep, so the Basilisk, I'm doing a Basilisk for my next piece, but I would really like to do some One Piece heroes and characters like that, because that's what I enjoy the most, you know. Les is saying, have you considered getting some of the models printed and then cast up as normal to sell? Well, that's literally what I just said, so I'm not sure how much of a delay there is like in the stream and the chat, but yeah, I just answered your question. Yep, that I would really like to do that eventually, but you know, it would cost thousands to get them actually printed up at a castable quality. But yeah, they hopefully will become available to you guys in time. Simon Powell, do you think you'll ever do a Warp Team fantasy football team on the Patreon? I would very much like to. I don't know what the... I haven't seen many Patreons with fantasy football characters on. I think because the fantasy football kind of fan base is quite isolated, I guess. You know, so I think, or should I say, it's people who like fantasy football often like fantasy, but not everyone who likes fantasy football, if that makes sense. So I think I'd be quite worried that I would lose quite a few patrons if I did do a month or 2 months dedicated entirely to a team. So I think what I would probably do is I would still sculpt them digitally, I think, but potentially do a Kickstarter where you can either get the casts or the STL files and print them straight away. So, but I mean, I'll see if I can fit it in my schedule. But I really want to do some naughty dwarves. I did have one on my shelf, but we've been doing some tidying up, so it might have been put away. Yeah, he's been put away, so unfortunately I can't show him off to you, but yeah, I am awaiting the opportunity to do a team, because I haven't done one in quite a while. But with everything that's kind of been popping off, with you know, the ArcWorlde 2nd edition, and also with the digital workshop, I haven't really got time. Well, I haven't had time at least. But it's definitely something I'd like to do in the future. Right, I'm just gonna go grab my models. So here is the Imperial Ogre, fresh from the oven. So I'm probably not going to be doing any filing tonight. It's not particularly, let's say, exciting for you guys to watch. So instead, I'm going to be doing something very exciting. I'm probably working on this little saucepan down here. Good evening, Dagfin. Good to see you. How was your walk? Jonas is saying, let's talk about those cast quality prints when my university opens in September. They have a really expensive printer. Maybe I can print some for you then. I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, my Elegoo Mars, which is the printer I've got at home, is very, very good, and you can get quite a high print quality from it. But unfortunately, my dad is just too good at casting, so all the little I assume that all the little kind of ridges and things there that would kind of naturally occur from a print will be picked up. But I am tempted to do a test. Well, I'm not tempted. I am going to do a test at some point where I'll print a model at like the highest setting and then send it to my dad and see whether or not we can actually tell. Because if that's the case, then, you know, absolutely brilliant stuff. Dagfin, wasn't a walk. We sat down by the fjord making a bonfire and cooking sausages. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most Norwegian sentence I think I've ever read out loud in my life. Dagfin saying, do you want help from now on in? I'm not too sure what you mean, but help is always appreciated. So guys, we're almost coming to the end of the stream. So I'm testing out, you know, just doing these kind of shorter, like 1 hour streams from now on, rather than like the really long 2 hour ones. But I hope you enjoyed it. Just nothing particularly on the cards tonight, just chill and sculpt. Before we go, if you do have any questions that you'd like me to answer on the chat, please do let me know. If not, then if you would like to check out my brand new website that I've launched today, we actually are having a 10% off sale to kind of celebrate, because it is Warploque's 10-year anniversary this year. I can't believe it either. I've been going for 10 years. But that's, I'll be doing a much bigger kind of event for that in December. So if you do want to kind of take advantage of that 10% discount, then go over to warploqueminiatures.com. The link's in the bottom of the video, where you'll be able to grab all the ArcWorlde models, both for 2nd edition and for 1st edition as well. Wayne is saying, cannot wait to have a wrestling match with an Imperial Ogre and an Undead Ogre. Absolutely. I mean, the Undead Ogre does have an advantage that he can get back up again, but have you seen the size of this bloke's gun? I mean, look at that. David Priest, as restrictions are being lifted, any chance of a weekender before Christmas? I wouldn't like to promise anything, because, you know, not to get too bogged down with current events, but we don't know what's going to be happening over the next few months because of the lockdowns being lifted. At the moment, I think it's probably safer just to kind of keep it as a kind of a yearly thing. So the next one will probably be in January, unless you guys hear from me. Just because, you know, it does take a lot of planning and a lot of organisation. Obviously, the people who come have to book hotels and stuff like that, and I'd hate to get everyone's hopes up for us then to kind of be stuck back in lockdown again. Just working on that. So as I said, I'll be drilling that out just to kind of make it look more like a saucepan. Miss Basana, until it goes the discount. The discount will be on until the end of Wednesday. So if you do want to take advantage of that discount, be sure to grab your goodies before tomorrow night. Be midnight UK time. Right, so by my watch, it is 9 o'clock, so that is the end of the stream. Thank you very much for joining tonight, guys. Hope you enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. I'll keep you all updated about, you know, what kind of the content of the stream will be, and any other news and stuff like that. But thank you very much for joining in. Hope you enjoyed yourself and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you very much, folks. Take care.